Välkommen till Montreal, Quebec, där EA Sports presenterar NHL-säsongsmatchen mellan Mighty Ducks of Anaheim och Montreal Canadiens.
Hi, and welcome to Montreal. I'm Jim Houston, and your color commentator is Darryl Ray. And here are the goaltenders for this game. Thibault goes head-to-head with Hebert. Pusher up to Nielsen. Ulama could be biting off more than he can chew. Karpa drops his gloves. Karpa gets the first punch in. This fight's been pretty close. So far, this is fairly even. This fight's been pretty close. And they end this one without throwing any punches. Ulama will sit for 5 minutes after that bout, and so will Karpa.
Montreal penalty to number 55, Igor Ulanov, a 5-minute major for fighting. Anaheim penalty to number 33, David Karpa, a 5-minute major for fighting.
Here we go again. Ruchin gets possession off the draw. Marshall then shot it.
Over here!
Brisebois starts out. Brisebois to Brunet. Quick shot on goal by Brisebois. To Brisebois. To center. Hoagland into the middle. Has the puck on a string. Soleil shoves Hoagland. Correa over to the wing. Brisebois knocks down Correa.
He pulverized him with a good stiff check.
To the net. To Ruchin. Intercepted by Poulin. It's 0-0. Poulin moves in. He took the shot. To Solani. 2:36 left in the period. Hoagland over to the wing. Montreal has a fresh line on the ice. Ruchin passed it to Solani. Stevenson jars the puck loose. Manson to center. The puck's knocked loose by Solani. Montreal gets called for elbowing.
Montreal penalty to number 23, Turner Stevenson, 2 minutes for elbowing.
They move into position for the faceoff. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim win the faceoff. Chips it ahead to Marhan. What a hit! To Damphus. Damphus steals the pass. He shot it. Just 2 minutes left in the penalty to the Montreal Canadiens. It's still tied 0-0 across to Solani. To Marhan. Recchi starts out.
Last minute of play in the first period.
Recchi to the net. Recchi then blasted it. To Pusher. Anaheim will try and outnumber the defenseman down low and look for a good shot opportunity. To Nielsen. Marshall jars the puck loose. Towards the net. 20 seconds remaining in the period. Time runs out on the penalty to Stevenson, and that's the end of the first period.
Fans, if you are hit by a puck, please stay in your seat and wait for the medical attendant.
Welcome back. Time to get on with the second period of today's game. Here we go again. Marha gets possession off the draw. Both teams are looking for the go-ahead goal. Moves in to Marha. Over here. Damphus out of his own zone. Damphus to the net. Trinka passes across. Benham passes it to Trinka. Zalapsky passes ahead. Savage passes across. Corson into the middle. To Savage. Moves in. Malikov backhands it. Hebert then made the save. The teams are deadlocked. To Benham. To Marha. To Trinka. Quick shot. Grabbed by Thibault. Malikov plays the puck to Corson. Corson passes it across. To Corson. He scores!
Let's have a look at the replay. It begins with a pass into the offensive zone. Corson takes the shot that beat him along the ice.
Thornton gets to the circle. He'll face off against Drury. Here we go again. Montreal has fresh legs on the ice.
Montreal goal scored by number 27, Shane Corson, assisted by number 49, Brian Savage.
Stevenson gets a breakaway! The save was then made by Hebert. Bannister was knocked down by Stevenson. The Montreal Canadiens go offside. They move into position for the faceoff. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim win the faceoff. Hoagland shoots! Just 2 minutes remaining in the period. Offside against Anaheim. Koivu gets possession off the draw. Moves in to the net. Pusher intercepts the pass. Koivu jars the puck loose. They probably won't be content with just pushing each other. Karpa throws his gloves to the ice. Karpa gets things started. Ulanov has eaten a lot of fist in this bout. And again! Ulanov grabs a hold of Karpa. And again! Karpa breaks away from Ulanov. Karpa catches him with a good hard shot. And again! Karpa catches him with a good hard shot. Karpa goes after him with a haymaker.
Lights out, baby. Lights out.
And it's a decisive win for Karpa. Ulanov will sit for 5 minutes after that bout, and so will Karpa.
Montreal penalty to number 55, Igor Ulanov, a 5-minute major for fighting. Anaheim penalty to number 33, David Karpa, a 5-minute major for fighting.
Cullen out of his own zone. Then he quickly passed it to Bannister.
Last minute of play in the second period.
Bannister winds up. Thibault kept it out. Only 30 seconds remaining in the period. Montreal beats out the icing call. To Trinka. Great hit! Hoagland shoots! And that's the end of the second period.
The concession will remain open until midway through the third period.
Welcome back for the third period of today's game on NHL 99. Damphus gets to the circle. He'll face off against Marha. Nielsen turns it over. Offside, Montreal. They move into position for the faceoff. They drop the puck. The Montreal Canadiens win the faceoff. He's jolted by Vakota. Bannister passes across to center. Drury into the slot. Bannister winds up. Thornton out of his own zone. It's a breakaway. He's in the clear. Thornton into the slot. To Vakota. To Trinka. Trinka starts out. Trinka gets flattened by Quintel. Quintel to center. Moves in to the net. Quintel passes back. Stevenson fired it. Trinka gets run over by Thornton. Hebert slows things down by covering up. Here we go again. Anaheim gets possession off the draw. To Brunet. He one-times it. Saleh chips it ahead to Korea. Montreal has really passed the puck well in this game. Brunet starts out. The Canadiens change up their lines. Into the corner. Just 2 minutes to go in the game. Trinka passes it to Knutson. Moves in to Trinka. Montreal pushing for the insurance marker at this point. Moves in to the net. To Damphus. Knutson out of his own zone. Malakoff into the middle. The Canadiens start changing on the go. Towards the net. What a shame if he can't continue. Thornton to face off against Ruchin.
Last minute of play in the third period.
To the finish flash. Ruchin moves it ahead. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim will change on the fly. Across to Ruchin. Passes it across to Korea. Vakota over to the wing. 20 seconds to go. Marshall over to the wing. Chips it ahead to Stevenson. Time runs out. This one is over. The Montreal Canadiens have beaten Anaheim.
Välkommen till Washington DC där EA Sports presenterar NHL-säsongsmatchen mellan Montreal Canadiens och Washington Capitals.
Hi, and welcome to Washington. I'm Jim Houston, and your color commentator is Darryl Ray. And here's how the goalies match up. Kolzig goes head-to-head with Thibault. To Damphus. Goncher behind the net. Oates moves it ahead. Montreal was offside. Brunet, quick shot on goal from the neutral zone. To Brown. Pass intercepted to Berube. Montreal goes offside. The Montreal Canadiens win the faceoff. He's flattened by Rushinsky. Across to Pivonka. Quick shot on goal by Zednik. Malakoff out of his own zone. Towards the net. Pivonka passes across. Tenorti passes ahead. Thibault gives it to Malakoff. Malakoff out of the corner. Towards the net. Behind the net. To Brisebois. Koivu knocks the puck away. Nothing wrong with that hit. Johansson chips it ahead to Zednik. It's still tied 0-0. Konowalchuk winds up to Corson. 2:26 left in the period. To the net. Intercepted to Tenorti. Washington has a man down. Looks like Tenorti. Malakoff can pass the puck to a teacup. He's the type of player who gets as much satisfaction out of setting up a teammate as he does scoring the goal himself. He's unselfish to a fault. Goncher passes across. Pass intercepted. To Bondra. Pass intercepted. To Savage. Goncher made a risky pass across the goal mouth. To Stevenson. Oates intercepts the pass. Canadiens 0, the Capitals 0. Across to Simon. Bondra shoots! To Goncher, who shot it from the slot. Stevenson into the middle. Moves in. The pass is intercepted by Stevenson.
Last minute of play in the first period.
Under 1 minute remaining in the period. To Bondra. Quick shot! Zalapsky starts out. Montreal gets a breakaway! Stevenson shot it. He showed his agility right there. Simon chips it ahead to Goncher. Montreal dumps the puck in. The Washington Capitals come in offside. Tikkanen passes across. Ulanov. Berube drops his gloves. Ulanov gets things started. Berube has eaten a lot of fist in this bout. He may think twice about dropping the mitts after that. And it's a decisive win for Ulanov. We have a penalty that's been called.
Montreal penalty to number 55, Igor Ulanov, a 5-minute major for fighting.
Penalty called for roughing.
Washington penalty to number 27, Craig Berube, 2 minutes for roughing.
And that's the end of the first period.
Fans, as this is...
Well, let's move to the second period. Hey, Razor, these guys can play. Well, you can only hope that the second's as good as the first was. The Capitals win the faceoff. The teams are deadlocked. Savage moves in. Simon to the net.
Simon throws his gloves to the ice. Manson gets the first punch in. Manson goes after him with a haymaker. Manson has really taken control of this fight. And again! In this game, you knock them down, you win. Manson lands the victory blow, and this fight is over. We have a penalty that's been called.
Montreal penalty to number 22, Dave Manson, a 5-minute major for fighting.
Penalty against the Capitals for roughing.
Washington penalty to number 17, Chris Simon, 2 minutes for roughing.
Brown shoots! Quintel starts out. Towards the net. Both teams are looking for the go-ahead goal. Moves in. Witt moves in. He takes a slap shot. Thornton over to the wing. Hunter knocks the puck away. Quintel out of his own zone to center. Moves in. To Thornton. Brown to center. The Canadians come in offside. Koivu gets possession off the draw. Brisebois dumps the puck in. Washington will get a short power play here. He's jolted by Pivonka. This is still anybody's game. Simon comes out of the box as his penalty comes to an end. Towards the net to Brisebois. Kolzig moves it to Johansson. At the blue line to Pivonka. Moves in. To Berube. Simon shoots. Brisebois moves it ahead. Who was knocked down. Johansson comes in offside. Here we go again. Johansson plays the puck to Bondra. Into the corner. Interception. Long pass to Bondra. Shoots! Quintal gets the puck to Damphus.
Last minute of play in the second period.
Interception. The Capitals will start out of their own zone. Bondra scores on the power play. Ulanov will serve the full 5 minutes no matter how many times the power play scores here. They move into position for the faceoff. Here we go again.
Washington goal scored on the power play by number 12, Peter Bondra, assisted by number 90, Joe Juneau, and number 77, Adam Oates.
Brisebois scores a short-handed goal. Nicolishin gets to the circle. He'll face off against Damphus. The puck is dropped.
Montreal goal scored shorthanded by number 43, Patrice Brisebois, assisted by number 41, Jocelyn Thibault.
And that's the end of the Time now for the third period of EA Sports NHL 99. Nicolishin gets to the circle. He'll face off against Damphus. To Nicolishin. Bellows to Nicolishin. Konowalchuk winds up to Rushinsky. Manson comes out of the box as his penalty comes to an end. Moves in towards the net. Both teams are passing well in this game. Kolzig moves it on. Right in front. Rushinsky scores! Let's take a look at that one again. It starts with a pass into the offensive zone, takes the shot, and turn the light on.
Hunter gets to the circle. He'll face off against Thornton.
Montreal goal, scored by number 26, Martin Ruzinski, assisted by number 25, Vincent Damfus.
Brown to Berube. Berube moves in. Witt shoots! Montreal pushing for the insurance marker at this point. The Canadians change up their lines towards the net. Berube starts out, over to Witt, to center. Damfus shoves Witt. To Zalapski, stolen by Witt. The Capitals will change on the fly. Damfus races in alone, takes the shot. Quick shot on goal by Stevenson. Johansson to the net. Johansson over to the wing. Just 2 minutes to go in the game. The Canadians will change on the fly. To Johansson. Montreal looking to increase its lead. Simon into enemy territory. That's stopped by Thibault. Intercepted. The Canadians lead by 1 goal.
Last minute of play in the third period.
Belted to the ice by Brisebois. The Canadians change up their lines. They shoot it into the yawning net. They move into position for the faceoff. Montreal with a commanding lead in this one.
Montreal goal, scored by number 43, Patrice Brisebois.
20. They shoot it into the gaping net. The ref gets ready to drop the puck.
Montreal goal, scored by number 11, Saku Koivu.
Brown gets hit. That's it. This one is over. The Washington Capitals are downed by the Montreal Canadiens.
Välkommen till Montreal, Quebec, där EA Sports presenterar NHL-säsongsmatchen mellan Buffalo Sabres och Montreal Canadiens.
Hi and welcome to Montreal. I'm Jim Houston and your color commentator is Darryl Ray. And here's how the goalies match up. Thibault will be up against Hasek. to Corson. Moves in. Across to Koivu. It was stopped by Hasek. Gives it to Schmeling. Belted to the ice by Koivu. Corson to the net. Holzinger moves it ahead to center. To Corson. Corson out of his own zone. Corson moves in. Rushinsky blasted it. To center. Wilson moves in. Solid finish there. Manson passes it across. It's tied 0-0. The Canadians will change on the fly. Rushinsky hits him. To center. Holzinger blasts him. Savage moves in. Wilson knocks the puck away. Barnaby throws his gloves to the ice. Ulanov being pummeled mercilessly by Barnaby. Barnaby throws a haymaker. He bobbed when he should have weaved. Barnaby plans the victory blow, and this fight is over. Ulanov will get 5 minutes for that little show of affection. So will Barnaby.
Montreal penalty to number 55, Igor Ulanov. A 5-minute major for fighting. Buffalo penalty to number 36, Matthew Barnaby. A 5-minute major for fighting.
Hoagland knocks down Verada. 2:04 left in the period. Just 2 minutes remaining in the period. Verada out of his own zone. Moves in. Verada winds up. Thibault stopped it. To Verada. One-timer. Malikov gets the puck to Hood. Towards the net. Brisebois shoots. The save was then made by Hasek. Hood jars the puck loose to center. What a hit!
Last minute of play in the first period.
Under 1 minute remaining in the period. Poulin shoots! Hasek moves it to Holland. Holland turns it over. Across to Hood. Hood passes across. To Holland. 20 seconds remaining in the period. Malikov runs over Grosek. 10 seconds to go. Saved by Hasek. To McKee. Holland shoved by Hoagland. And that's the end of the first period.
Fans, if you are hit by a puck, please stay in your seat and wait for the medical attendant.
Welcome back. Time to get on with the second period of today's game. The Montreal Canadiens win the faceoff. The score is even. Koivu one-timed it from the slot. Holzinger out of his own zone. Just 2 minutes left in the penalty. To Corson. Pass intercepted over to Holzinger. To Sanderson. Thibault moves the puck to Zalapski. Zalapski out of his own zone. The score is even. The puck's knocked loose by Zalapski. Hasek moves it to Schmeling. Schmeling starts out. Schmeling passes over to the wing. Pass intercepted. The teams are deadlocked. Towards the net. Rushinsky passes across. Great hit! Koivu shoots! Rushinsky knocks down Holzinger. Towards the net to Koivu. To Schmelik. Belted and knocked to the ice by Corson. Montreal should be making a line change soon to the net. To Zalewski. Wilson passes across. Holzinger out of his own zone. To Manson. Over here. Zalewski out of his own zone. Montreal has a fresh line on the ice. Buffalo gets a breakaway! Sanderson then made the shot. To Stevenson. Sanderson knocked Stevenson. The teams are deadlocked. It's still tied 0-0. That's icing against Montreal. The Sabres win the faceoff. To Brown, he blasted it. To Manson.
Last minute of play in the second period.
To the net. To McKee. McKee passes it across. Belted to the ice by Savage. 20 seconds to go. Moves in. To the net. Belted to the ice by Savage. This is still anybody's game, and that's the end of the second period.
A lost child has been found. Would the parents please report to the third level information desk?
Welcome back for the third period of today's game on NHL 99. They move into position for the faceoff. Sanderson to center. Manson to Zalewski. Schmelik smacks him to Barnaby. To Corson. Corson misses the pass. Corson to the net. Wilson across to Barnaby. Pass intercepted. To center. To Koivu. He scores!
Let's take another look at what happened. Here he has the puck. Corson passed it. Koivu takes the shot and beat the goalie.
The teams line up for the faceoff.
Montreal goal scored by number 11, Saku Koivu, assisted by number 27, Shane Corson, and number 3, Zarli Zalewski.
To Verada. Holland turns it over. The Canadians start changing on the go. Towards the net. Intercepted. Grosek over to the wing. To Thornton. Thornton starts out. Thornton into the slot. Montreal clinging to the lead right now. Ward moves it into the middle. Brown to the net. Back to Brown. Both teams are passing well in this game. Woolley moves it on. Manson passes ahead. Ling into the middle. Hasek moves it to Woolley. The Sabres change up their lines. To Quintel. Moves in. Grosek winds up. Thibault stopped it. Wilson moves it on. Plant was knocked down. Hood settles in for the face-off. He'll face off against Pekka.
Last minute of play in the third period.
Pekka passes it back to Hoagland. To Hood.
Pekka out of his own zone. Offside. Buffalo wins the draw cleanly. Zalapski passed that across two lines. To Barada. Brunet, brutal, empty netter. Thornton gets to the circle. He'll face off against Pekka.
Montreal goal, scored by number 17, Benoit Brunet.
Put this one in the books. The Montreal Canadiens are victorious.